Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter what time this video is reaching you, I hope it brings value into your life. Welcome to Wake Up with Richard. I'm Richard Galarza, and I just want to jump right into it. I want to talk about my story, what I've gone through. Some things are pretty crazy. Some things have impacted my life for most of my life. And hopefully you get value and maybe it can impact your life hearing my story and knowing more about me. And plus, it's just good to get to know each other. So please, let me know something about you. Comment below. All right. So I was born in 1987. My mother was 19. My father was 21. Young parents. At 3 weeks old, my parents were bringing me to Calle Ocho, crazy party kids and everything. Again, 19 and 21 years old. At when I was about a year old, 11 days after my birthday, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather passed away. I never got to do him. I had always held a void because everybody in the family held him with such high regard and esteem. And so he was still, even though he passed away before I ever got to know him, he was somebody I always looked up to. At 3 years old, my parents got split up, and because my father, addicted to everything you could think of, drugs, alcohol, porn, sex, gambling, kleptomaniac, aka addicted to stealing. Didn't even smoke cigarettes till he was 32, and he was with that. He ended up being at 32. He's addicted to cigarettes. He still smokes them all the time. And so, at 3 years old, finally my mother got fed up because he was gambling the rent away. We got evicted, kicked us out. And, that fact of letting your kids be out on the street and everything, not have a place to live, was the end all for my mother when it came to my father. And so after that, my mother met this guy named Scott. And Scott was around when I was about 4 years old or so. Moved in with him. And his daughter, she was the same age as my brother, which is about 18 months younger than me, and she was about a year younger than me. And so my mother would work nights all the time as a server, bartender, at some point bar manager and stuff like that as well. And so she would work nights, and once she would leave, it was with him, Scott, it was, okay, it's punishment's time. Whatever we did during the day or whatever, boom, it's working out, doing workouts and stuff like that. It's good for kids to do that. But at the same time, after workouts, I'd be working out till 2 a.m. and then send me home. And then he was a big dude with a big stomach. And I remember him, lots of times he would jump on me and I would be freaking out. I didn't, I felt claustrophobic. I was super afraid. I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to get out from underneath him, and he just rolled his over. I was laying down trying to sleep after all this craziness. Multiple times into this, and it still freaks me out to this day, and stuff like that. And then a lot of emotional abuse and mental abuse as well. My brother used to wet the bed till he was 9. He was 3-4 years old. Didn't get the help that he needed at that time to help him through and teach him how to do it. He just got in trouble for it, which that created a vicious cycle of he'd get in trouble for that, he'd act out, then he'd get in trouble for acting out. So it was, and he'd pee in the bed and get in trouble for that, and it was just a vicious cycle over and over. I remember waking up at, when I was at 2, 3 in the morning one time. I was 3, 4 years old. I was like 4, maybe 5. No, I was like 4 years old, and my brother was in the thing when I tell him he remembers it, and he said it was the bath. I remember the bath was filled up. He said it was cold water, and the shower was on him, and Scott was just dunking his head under, and I at 2, 3 in the morning, I just wanted to do something to help my brother, but I was powerless. I couldn't do anything to help my brother, and so I always wanted to help protect people, and there was another thing, doing that to a kid, because he peed in the bed. A small kid, if he would have had it, he would have stopped peeing a lot earlier if he would have had the help instead of getting in trouble and having that kind of abuse on him. And then other things, I guess from acting out and everything, he another time getting in trouble, he made my brother wear his daughter's tutu that she had for Halloween, and with that, told myself and his daughter, you guys got to point and laugh at him. And I was just 4 years old, like, I don't want to point and laugh at my brother, that's mean. Oh, you better point and laugh or you're next. And so I was bullied into making fun of my brother, and I didn't want to do that, and it hurt me not to be able to help him and to have to go against him. And my brother was acting out more and more and more for that. Plus, father was crazy and everything. Finally, my mother left him around 7. Stopped living with him when we were about 7. A lot more craziness happened in that time frame. Went to every year. I moved to a different apartment, so we lived in different places every single year. Probably more so than that, obviously getting evicted and things like that happening as well. So never anything stable in my life. Plus, I went to 5 different elementary schools alone. No stability. Always different friends. It was always hard for me to make friends and things like that. By 8 years old, I ended up breaking my 2 front teeth, basically at this shape here, like an A in the middle. What you could see the teeth was what I had of those 2 front teeth. What you could see there was what I had of the 2 front teeth at 8 years old. I didn't get them fixed till I was 15 years old. I didn't get them fixed till I was 15 years old. It affected my whole life. I gained weight. I was a fat kid. By 13 years old, I was 180 pounds. 180 pounds. I weigh 200 pounds right now. I was weighing, 168, when at 26, 27, when I was losing weight. Now I'm trying to get big again and be it. But it was all fat little pudgy kid. I was shorter too. At 13 years old. So I was overweight, the girls didn't like me. I couldn't make friends. I was shy, quiet, very anxious, depressed all the time. I hated my life. My mother would say, things like, when I would do something, she's like, I brought you into this world, I could take you out. I was like, I didn't want to be a part of this world anyway. I don't care. That was my attitude. I really didn't care. I didn't want to be alive. That was the way I thought my entire life. I didn't want to be alive. By like 5th grade, I stopped even doing homework just because people were saying, you're so smart. And I didn't want people to know that it wasn't true. I wanted them to believe that I was smart. So I didn't turn in my homework because I didn't want them to know I didn't know. I didn't ask questions. So a lot of people saying you're so smart, and it created the belief that I was smart. So I had to reinforce that And instead of learning more and going up to my potential, I held myself back. And some kids do that. So not every time, that positive reinforcement doesn't work all the time. Definitely didn't work for me, in that case at least. So I stopped doing well by my junior year of high school. I failed the entire junior year. I had a 1.4 GPA. You need a 2.0 to graduate. I wanted to join the military and everything since I was 13 because I knew I hated school. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So I buckled down. I took night classes, super easy classes, online classes that I could do like every month. I could finish another one. I get an easy A, not even have to do anything or any real tests. It was simple, simple math. Boom, boom. It was like the kind of math that for kids with learning disabilities. It was like that kind of simple where I didn't have to take the algebra 2 and all that stuff. And I had to take all those classes, but I got the grades so that I can go to the military. I ended up going to the military. I had a lot of baggage. I realized a lot about myself. I didn't say this before, but by 4 years old was the first time I ever, drank. By 8 years old was the first time I smoked, I got high. And I was, that impacted my life as well. I didn't stop till I was ready to go, like about 2 months before I went to the military. Smoked from 8 to 18. And obviously maybe that, nothing against marijuana, but messes with brain development for kids if too young and everything. I don't do it anymore. I stay away from it. And if you do it, I don't judge anybody. But so I dealt with that. My son woke up. I gotta get him. So I'm gonna speed this up. Ended up having always having negative thoughts, worrying about death and things like that, and I just was afraid of death and so many different things, and would go to sleep at night with all this stuff. When I started learning more about, getting more into heavy drinking and trying to fit in with people, it would turn the thoughts off, and I wasn't shy anymore because I wasn't thinking anymore. And I loved that because I was more outgoing and everything. And it was like, oh, all right, I'm the man now. And so, I got really heavy where I ended up getting a crazy scar on my face, just drinking in excess, throwing up all the time, blacking out all the time. Obviously, waking up with 40 stitches in your face in the hospital, you got a problem. So I realized a lot of times. And then years later, after the military, continued to have those problems. Ended up one time getting really drunk, helping my buddy in a fight, and my tooth going through my lip, having footprints on my face for 3-4 days. Had to get stitches here, for the tooth going through my lip. All kinds of craziness in my life. And none of it really changed till I changed. Finally, by the age of 26, after I left the military, I gained all kinds of weight back. And at the age of 26, I joined my business. Not telling anybody they got to do that, but it was the first time that somebody told me, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you got to get better. And I was like, man, why hasn't anybody told me this before? And they started saying, read books. You know what? Yes, you can learn so much from personal experience, but read books. You'll learn, you'll grow. Go to seminars, you'll learn, you'll grow. You'll learn from other people's experiences that are doing well in life, that have gone through what you've gone through, or gone through worse things, or gone through things that are just as bad in a different way as you. And find out how you can build rapport for yourself with them so that you can learn from them. And read more books, change your mindset. The understanding that I got from school, from my parents and people that didn't teach the things that are in these books. People call them self-help books. You could call them self-help, self-improvement books is a little bit better, but it's more about understanding yourself, because it's, a lot of it's psychology. And when you learn the psychology and help you to understand yourself, that's why a lot of people go into the field of psychology. A lot of psychologists do it so that they can learn about themselves and things. They learn about their problems. They're trying to fix all these people. That's why people is just craziness. So learn about yourself, grow yourself. I've been through so much in my life, and there's so much more that I didn't say in this video, but I want to get to that in other videos. I hope that I brought value to your life. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. No matter what time this video is reaching you, I hope it brings value into your life, and have a wonderful, beautiful, powerful rest of the day. Peace.